The Jubilee Bible, edited by Russell M. Stendal, narrated by Lisa Stendal. The Jubilee Bible 2000, from the Scriptures of the Reformation. Translated from the original texts in Hebrew and Greek into Spanish by Casidoro de Reina, 1569, and compared with the version of Cipriano de Valera, 1602. Based on the New Testament of Francisco de Encinas, 1543, and on the New Testament, 1556, with the Psalms of 1557 of Juan Pérez de Pineda. This material was translated from Spanish into English by Russell M. Stendal and compared with the Old English translation of William Tyndale, Pentateuch of 1530, Plowboy Edition New Testament of 1534, Joshua to 2 Chronicles of 1537, and Jonah. It was also compared word for word with the Authorized Version by King James of 1611. The word of our God shall stand forever. Isaiah 48. To the reader. Have you ever come across footnotes in the Old Testament that say Hebrew obscure or Hebrew uncertain? This is not due to any lack of content or clarity in the original text, but rather to the fact that most modern Hebrew scholars simply do not know the precise meaning of many of the original idioms with any degree of certainty. For hundreds of years, Hebrew was studied as a dead language, a language that was not spoken in everyday life. The difference between studying a living versus a dead language could be compared to the difference between studying fossils or museum exhibits of long-extinct animals versus studying living examples of the same species. A number of years ago, I was given a copy of an old Spanish Bible, translated in the heat and fervor of the Reformation, which was brutally put down in Spain by the Inquisition, during a time when it was common practice to burn Bibles along with their owners. I immediately began to notice a depth and clarity to this translation that brought forth a clear witness of the Spirit of God as to the meanings of many unseemingly unfathomable passages, mainly in the Psalms, Proverbs, and Prophets, that had intrigued me for years. I began to investigate the unique circumstances of this Spanish translation by Casidoro de Reina, published in 1569. Casidoro de Reina was born in 1520. He learned Hebrew in Spain as a young man, apparently from Jews who still spoke Hebrew as a living language. The Jews had been officially expelled from Spain in 1492, but it is estimated that only 1/4 of them left at that time. Some of those who remained did their best to blend in with the Christians. Eventually, the Spanish Inquisition made it impossible for any Jewish people who spoke their own language to survive in Spain. Almost every Hebrew scholar since Casidoro de Reina has had to learn Hebrew as a dead language, which was no longer spoken until the modern-day ongoing resurrection of the Hebrew language in Israel. Casidoro began a translation of the Old Testament from Hebrew to Spanish and was forced to flee from Spain in 1551. Several Jewish translations of the Old Testament were published in Spanish about this time, such as the Biblia de Ferrara of 1553, to which Casidoro had access. He also built on a translation of the Psalms that was published by his friend Juan Pérez de Pineda in 1557. He went to Geneva and was there until the government of Geneva under John Calvin burned Miguel Servet at the stake over differences on points of doctrine. Casidoro had some strong words about this. He said that Geneva had become a new Rome, and he left for England. The Queen of England, Elizabeth I, allowed Casidoro to preach to Spanish speakers in the Church of St. Mary Axe and gave him a monthly income. Casidoro continued his Bible translation until the Inquisition found out about it and sent agents from Spain who brought false charges against him and undermined his support from the Queen. Casidoro fled to Germany just in time to witness a war between Luther
Sample complete. Ready to continue?